Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the tropics. It's been a few days since we've done so, and we do have to update you guys on a few things. Alright, now before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, I'd also ask that you check out our very exciting Patreon page in the description in the pinned comment down below, where you can help support the channel. Alright, now for today's comment of the day, I want to know, when do you think our next tropical storm is going to develop? How far out from now? Let me know why, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Alright, now let's get into this video, and we're taking a look at our 2-day graphical tropical weather outlook here from the National Hurricane Center. And as you can see, we have Omar as a tropical depression, and then we have a 40% chance up there offshore of Africa, and then a 20% chance just below that one. Alright, now things are going to get a lot more interesting as we take a look at the 5-day outlook, where we're going to see that there's actually 3 systems offshore of Africa with a slight to moderate to even high chance of development. We have all 3 shades, yellow, orange, and red. And even there's a Gulf disturbance that looks a little interesting, though the National Hurricane Center does not think anything's going to happen with that one. At the very end of the video, we're going to take a look at how the shear and the dust is coming along, see why more storms could have an easier time developing coming up. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at that first disturbance on the 5-day outlook. Alright, now here we are taking a look at that first disturbance, and as you can see, we have a 20% chance over the next 5 days. So this is our least chance of developing disturbance that we have out there. This one doesn't look to do much moving forward. Alright, but our second disturbance, however, we have a high chance of development, and it's a 80% chance. And it's generally going to be heading westward. The problem with this one is that it could be heading anywhere from towards Puerto Rico, towards Bermuda, directly north. This one has a very wide range of directions it could be heading and moving forward. We're going to check that out when we look at the spaghetti models later on. I'll explain that to you guys. It's going to be very tough to forecast where this one is going to go. Pretty much everywhere is at risk at this point. Now, taking a look at our third disturbance, this one's going to be coming offshore of Africa soon, and then it will have a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days, but this one has not started developing yet, and that's why it's not on the 2-day outlook. It has no chance of development over the next 2 days. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to start taking a look at the satellite imagery for each of these systems. Only the yellow and the red one have actual satellite imagery, because the other one isn't even developed yet, and we're going to get spaghetti models for those two, as well as intensity guidance, so that's all coming up. Alright, now first things first, we're taking a look at Invest 92L, which is actually that high chance, 80% chance of development one. And as you can see on satellite, this one looks like it could become a tropical depression today. If you ask me, it looks like it has some higher, stronger clouds there, as well as being pretty organized, and even those bands to the south kind of indicate an area of rotation somewhere in there. I really think that one's doing quite well, to say the least, and I think, again, it probably will become a tropical depression today or tomorrow, and then the sky's the limit. We'll really talk about on the intensity guidance how strong that one really could get, but for now, over the next 2 days, development seems to be pretty moderate. Now, let's take a look at 91L, which surprisingly became somehow an invest before 92L, even though 92L looks a lot better. And 91L, as you can see, looks like an area of scattered thunderstorms. So this is an example of one that's not looking quite as good. You can see there's just scattered around clouds. You want to see it all kind of in one pile, but really these are just all over the place. So this one is not looking like it's anywhere close to developing into anything much. So for 92L, here is the spaghetti models, basically, of where it's going to go. Within the next 24 hours, it's going to be generally heading directly westward, and then kind of dipping a little bit south, and then after that point, the models are really just spread all over the place. And there's a huge difference in the direction it could be heading, but generally westward seems to be the trend here. And then let's take a look at the GEFS model, and this is where it becomes a lot more uncertain. Basically, after about hours 48, it becomes very wide range of directions it could head. But look at the Canadian model here. This one's the most telling of what we're dealing with here. Anywhere from Puerto Rico to directly north, this one could head anywhere in between there. A lot of these members have this storm becoming very, very strong. So that seems to be a possibility, whether it's going to be heading towards land or not. It really appears that this one is going to pose a threat to some areas further south if it is to head in that more southerly track. So we're really going to need to watch this one closely. And what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the intensity guidance for this one. And then we're going to take a look at things for 91L, to kind of take a look at that. And then we're going to start talking about the overall season, shear, dry air, things of that nature. All right, now here we are taking a look at that intensity guidance. And as you can see, believe it or not, every single model here has this one at least becoming a tropical storm. In my experience, this does not guarantee that it will be a tropical storm. I've seen situations like this where it just doesn't. However, it really increases the likelihood, in my opinion, that we will at least see a tropical storm. And same story for Category 1 hurricane. Does this mean it's impossible for it to become a Category 1, 2, 3? No, this just means the models aren't picking up on that type of intensity yet, and it really is going to depend on what this one does. Usually the models get a much better handle once we've seen it develop. So once it's a depression, storm, you're going to get a much better outlook of what it's going to do, where it's going to head, things like that. All right, now talking about Invest 91L, here is that spaghetti model guidance. And as you can see, almost a directly east, northeast, then northwest direction. It's going to kind of just zigzag, not really posing much threat to any land. And then here's our GEFS model, kind of has it swirling around all over the place. Again, some of the members here having this one become a quite strong storm. I'm pretty doubtful of that though. And then here's the intensity guidance. As you can see, I think there's a 60% chance it just stays under tropical storm status. And then there's kind of like a 30 to 40% chance that it does become a tropical storm. So we're kind of looking at a lower chance here for development with 91L. There is 2 models that have this one becoming a tropical storm, and then 3 that have it kind of just hovering around that just under tropical storm status and not really doing anything. So in my opinion, I don't really see much happening with this system. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the shear, then the dry air, and then we're going to close out the video. All right, now we're taking a look at the shear. And as you can see, there is some spotty areas out there with some yellows and some oranges that would kind of hinder tropical development, but that's not enough to really eat up storms. You need the reds and the pinks to really start doing damage. And as you can see, it's relatively clear then once you take a look, even though, again, there is yellows. That's very typical. It's very rare to have an open area of just blues and blacks. Shear is a very, very common thing throughout the Atlantic, and the rest of the world, of course. So this is about as clear as it gets, and it's going to be interesting to see as possibly some of these storms try to make their way across the Atlantic, to see if they have an easier time than our previous storms have had, because our previous storms have really had a lot of difficulty moving across the Atlantic, a lot of difficulty to say the least. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And then here's our dry air, which is really, really receded, and you usually see that lower by the time we're in August, and it really didn't do that. But it appears to have really lowered itself. You can see there's really just some areas of yellows, but only the reds kind of linger around for just offshore of Africa, which is very typical. So I think a lot of these storms, if they do make their way across the Atlantic, are going to have a much easier time developing than we saw throughout July, August. Usually the later into the year you get, the less dust and dry air there is. And it looks like that's finally what we're taking a look at now. It just has taken longer than average. You can even see our storms down there. If you look at the kind of, I would say the southeastern side of this map here, you can see that there is those white clouds. They are going to move through the yellow and oranges, but I think they're going to have an easier time than a lot of our storms have had. Our storms have had to move straight through red areas, orange areas, and kind of deal with that. So these storms, still regardless of that slight amount of dry air, are going to have an easier time than a lot of the other storms throughout the season have had. And it kind of raises a question for how the rest of September and October is going to go, considering if this dry air is to keep receding and stay back like this. I think we could have some more hurricanes and maybe major storms on the way, because sea surface temperatures have proven they're enough for these storms to develop quite nicely. So just now imagine if there's no shear or dry air, it's going to be very interesting moving forward. Alright, now for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, when was the earliest snow you can remember for your area? Because we are taking a look at the very good chance for a major September snowstorm. You can check that video out on my channel. But Kim Z said October 2011, major storm with at least 3 feet of snow in Connecticut, no power for 8 days. And I remember that one. And if I remember correctly, the leaves were still on the trees, right? And that's what led to all the power outages. Let me know in the comments if you remember that storm, if maybe I'm right or wrong. I was younger then, obviously, and it was a long time ago, so I don't remember very vividly, but I think that was the case. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our diamond patrons, Mad Birds and Mark J, alongside our platinum patron, Donna Carnes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.